my channel. I'm Bethany, and today we're playing Prison Architect. So, I recorded this with new software, and then the sound didn't record. So I'm doing a voiceover right now, and it's not that big of a deal because right now we're just gonna make our prison and then plan out what we're gonna build. So I did females, I did Saphira and Akhenov, huskies, I generated forests, lakes, I went in with gangs, criminally insane. What else is there? Staff needs escape plans, weather and temperature, and events on. You can see I turned off intake so we won't get any prisoners too soon. And I took a couple grants, the administration center and the basic detention center, kind of like the two most basic ones you need to start with. And I'm just starting to plan out how I want to build my prison. Now, I don't go through and put doors everywhere where I want to, but just so I remember why I built it the way I did is why I kind of went a little door heavy to start out with. Here I'm trying to build a visitation area, and I eventually want to put in the visitation booths and not just the tables to have a little bit more security. So I planned on a room that could fit, well, both of them basically, but that's what that room's going to be. The two rooms beside each other will be parole, and the other room will be a holding cell, and that comes off of the reception. Now I'm putting in some solitary because I was like, well, what else do I put here? Like nothing. That's such an awkward area that I just created. The room up at the top is supposed to be storage, but I eventually moved that because I was going to connect the solitary, and that would be the kitchen up top and then storage. And you can see I'm like trying to build a airlock system so that the prisoners can still go into storage but can't get out of the prison. And one, I put the airlock on the wrong door. That's super smart of me. But then I realized that puts the kitchen and the canteen way off to the top of the map and not towards the middle, which is where I tend to like them. So I moved storage down to be right off of the reception and a kitchen. And then I'm working on putting in offices, trying to decide how to do it. Like, I don't have a tried and true layout for a prison, so I kind of just go with whatever I'm feeling that day. So this time I did the staff room with the offices coming off of it. 4 offices for the warden, the accountant, the chief, and the lawyer. And then a staff bathroom with a boiler room with the electricity and the water pump. Because I remembered I turned on weather and temperature, which means we need to heat the prison. And this is just a little bit of forethought on my part, is figuring out where a security room and armory and kennel can go. So that so that hallway above the room I'm working in right now will be a staff only hallway. I modify it a little bit later on, but it's going to be a staff only hallway. And that's where I go, I'm not going to build all of the solitary cells right now. I don't need 20 solitary cells when I only am going to have maybe 20 prisoners. This is where I kind of modify it so it becomes kind of a staff only area. It's kind of weird, but it's how it worked out. And I eventually extend it down to be a whole hallway through the staff area. That's going to be a yard with the canteen, next to it. It's an awkward shaped yard, but I think it will work out. And I was like, oh wow, this is going really well. And then I was like, well, you haven't built any cells yet. So I'm going to work on the family cells because they are always an afterthought for me. So they end up in the worst positions, like nowhere near the kitchen. And if you don't know, kitchen staff have to take food to the nursery, which is the bottom part of that area, because moms eat in the nursery. They don't go to the canteen. So I had to be able to fit a serving table, and then they require cribs in there and play mats. And it's also the mother's like common room. So you really need to kind of fit in some entertainment stuff, a phone, a TV, which is one thing I forget to include. So in the next episode, we'll have to add in a common room along with med bay and a psychologist's office. And this is where I'm like, I don't want to build the same what are they called, like prison hallways that I always do with the cells. So I'm like, I'm gonna do something different. I like building cell blocks, that's what they're called, in awkward shaped rooms, but so far I didn't really have any awkward shaped rooms, so I kind of made my own. But it wasn't going out very well. It didn't work very well. So I was like, okay, well, there I can fit in, that would be 9 cells and one really big, not really big, but one bigger cell. I just didn't like how that was looking. So I put family cells back there, but I actually added extra ones, which gave us a bigger nursery, which, as you can see, opens more room for other things. So I can add some TVs, some phones, some cribs without it all being excessively cramped. And then I decided to do a dormitory, which I don't normally do early game. I normally do in later game. And I'm going to add some bookshelves in there to help boost the score of it. I go into the menu to look at what else I could add in, and I grab a pool table, one of the biggest entertainment objects in the menu, but that's what I decide to see if could fit in there. But I also go ahead and add like a regular cell block, just a 6-person 6-cell block. So this will give us 12 beds to sleep in, because I'll put in bunk beds in the dormitory. So not a lot to start out with, but a decent amount. And I make sure that there's 1 shower per prisoner, just because I know showers can be an area of conflict, and I didn't want that to happen. So I eventually close off all the open hallways, because this is going to be a fully interior prison. And this is me walking through the checklist and looking at other stuff I could do that I'm not going to do. And I build the staff hall that I talked about a little bit earlier, going north to south on the east side of the prison eventually. But that's where I'm going to leave it for today. There is another video coming out later today, though, so keep your eyes open and your subscription box turned on. And I will see y'all all next time. Bye.
for falling.